أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تحرموا طيبات ما أحل الله لكم ولا تعتدوا إن الله لا يحب المعتدين وكلوا مما رزقكم الله حلالا طيبا واتقوا الله الذي أنتم به مؤمنون. Surah Maida, verse 88, the translation is: O people who have believed, don't make unlawful the good things which Allah has made lawful for you, and do not transgress. Verily, Allah does not like the transgressors, and eat from the sustenance given to you by Allah, which is lawful and which is good, and fear Allah's punishment, and Allah is someone in whom you believe. In this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is clarifying a specific point regarding the lawful and unlawful foods that have been prohibited or made lawful by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the Muslims. The first thing to understand is that if a particular food or meat has been declared as unlawful, it's because its effect on our spirit or the soul and on our body is not going to be good for us. For example, if we eat the meat of animals like lions or tigers or cheetahs, these are the animals who attack other animals and create fear. They instigate fear. So the same bad qualities then will occur in our own lives. So the food that we eat has an effect on our soul as well as on our body. So from amongst the food that are unlawful, there are several foods which can create some disease for us. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has stopped us from eating those meats or those foods. So we should understand that if something has been declared unlawful, it's for our own benefit. It's not to create pain for us, or it's not to give us agony, but rather it is for our own benefit. Now in this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is clarifying a point for someone who declares something lawful as unlawful for himself or herself. So there are three ways that one can do it. For example, there is a food which is lawful, which is halal, and we are allowed to eat it. For example, it's a banana. So there are three ways that one can declare it as haram or unlawful. So the first way is that someone says, oh, I believe that this banana is not lawful for human beings. I think it's not a good thing to eat, and I refuse to accept that it is lawful, and I'm never going to eat it. That's one use case that can happen. Now the decision for this use case is that this person is actually going to go out of Islam, and he is going into kufr, because he has directly refused the order of Allah. And this is exactly what the shaitan did when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked everyone to bow down or prostrate to Adam alayhi salam. So the reason that the shaitan did not prostrate was that he was against the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was not out of his laziness. That typically we can miss the prayers due to laziness. But the shaitan, he was against the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That why has Allah given this order? Nauzubillah. And therefore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala declared him as a kafir. So one who makes unlawful for himself or herself what Allah has made lawful, and he believes that he is on the right track, then definitely that person has become a kafir, nauzubillah, and he needs to say the kalima again to become a Muslim. Now the second use case is that someone swears that I swear that I will not eat this food again. For example, I swear that I will never eat bananas again. I swear I will never eat apples again. I swear I will never eat cucumbers again. I swear I will never eat camel's meat again. So the decision for this use case is that swearing in this way, you know, just by an impulse, maybe someone got angry and said these words. So, swearing in this way is definitely not recommended in Islam. Islam prohibits us from swearing too much, because swearing is not an easy thing. If we break our promise, then we have to give kafara for it. So, Islam does not, recommends that we make such a swear, that we swear in this way and we make things, lawful things for us, as unlawful. So this is definitely not recommended. In fact, if the person is in the habit of doing such swearing in this way, then he's going to get sin. He's sinning, in fact, and he has to do tawbah to remove that sin from his book of deeds. And if he breaks the promise, then he has to get kafara for it. So it's not a very comfortable situation to be in. So Islam basically also recommends that you do not use such words to make lawful things unlawful on yourself, because if you swear, then you have to follow it. But you are even though you are not against the orders of it being lawful, but still you are avoiding eating it because Allah wants you to eat it, and you are avoiding it, eating it, so because of your own swearing. So therefore, such swearing, habitual swearing, is against the teachings of Islam, and a habitual swearer in this way is going to be sinful, and he or she must do tawbah and never sin again, and stop from making such swearing or promises. Such a swearing is allowed, when religion permits it. For example, nowadays we are talking about, boycotting Israeli products because they are committing genocide on Muslims in Palestine, and thousands of Muslims have been martyred by their evil tactics and war. So if someone swears that I swear I will never eat Israeli food again, so that is not something which is wrong, but you can just stop taking those things. That is better, which is the third use case, rather than swearing. So still, swearing in this case will be allowed, but still it is better that not to get into the habit of swearing too much. And the third use case is that when you don't consider something lawful as unlawful, you don't refuse it, and you also don't swear, but you simply stop eating it. You stop consuming it. For example, you stopped eating meat, you stopped drinking some particular drink. Now that can happen due to several reasons. The obvious reason is that your health does not allow it anymore. So that is completely allowed, and you should leave it, because prevention is sunnah. When you are sick, then prevention is definitely sunnah, and you should, for example, if you have sugar, then you should definitely stop eating sugary foods and sugary drinks, because then you want your life, you treasure your life, and it's completely allowed that you stop eating in that situation. And the other thing in this is that if you start believing that, if I stop eating it, then it's going to fetch me more reward somehow. So that is a bid'ah. That is a new thing in Islam, because if Allah has allowed it, then why leaving it will fetch you reward? That's completely against the logic of allowing something because Allah wants you to eat it or drink it. So in this case, that's going to a huge sin, which can potentially lead one to kufr. Even if one persists in bid'ah, then the shaitan can lead such a person even into kufr. So these are the three use cases, and the point is that Islam always gives us a balance between the extremes. For example, we are not allowed to take a praying mat and a tasbih and a vessel for doing wuzu and go to the mountains and spend the whole life there worshipping God, and we are also not allowed to leave the prayers. So there has to be a balance in everything. So similarly for food, all the food is allowed, but there are some foods which are harmful for us. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prevented us from eating those. Now making something, all the other foods are lawful, so making something lawful as unlawful is is saying that, okay, oh, nauzubillah, I think that the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is limited, I think that this thing is not lawful. So that's a huge sin. Obviously anyone can say that you are sinning, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all knowing, he has all the knowledge, he is full of hikmah, and everything he does is full of wisdom. So we have to accept what Allah has done for us, as it's better for us. And may Allah give us the tawfiq to act on these things.